Hey y'all, I hope you're so well wherever you are in this right now moment. I have an awareness that I would like to share to bring it into your awareness with the intention that it opens up our hearts and opens up our capacity to be more in our heart. So, welcome to my channel if you're new to it. I'm Jane, and I've noticed something happening on repeat in my own life, and others have been reflecting it occurring in their life. And so that's a theme in the collective consciousness that I would like to reflect upon. And it is around, this is where I'm curious. So like leave a comment if this is happening with you, and if when it is happening in man bodies or women bodies, because I'm very curious. I've only been experiencing it in man bodies, so I'm curious if it's just like a man body or if it's the masculine energy as a whole. Either way, it's the masculine energy in relation to the feminine energy, how they're relating with each other or not. And I've only been seeing it expressed in men. So I'm curious. So let me know. And it's just a curiosity, literally. I'm just like, I don't, curious minds want to know. Anywho, so the pattern that I've been seeing on repeat is, and I don't want to generalize this by just continually saying men. So I might vacillate back and forth between human and man. Anyway, but what I've been noticing is humans who are unable to be with their own emotions when their emotions are what some would consider to be uncomfortable: anger, frustration, helplessness, loss, grief, these like heavier emotions that we're made to feel, right? But I've said this before, it's not been trained in the Western mindset to know how to be resourced, to actually acknowledge and feel safely the big emotions. Okay. And so I'm noticing this play out. And the men that I've seen this play out with, and now that I think about it, there is one woman who I've seen this play out with. So it's definitely not just man bodies. So you can still comment anyway. But the way it's showing up is I'm unable to communicate with anyone outside of me what I'm feeling on the inside. And the translation of that is what I am feeling, I can't communicate that with myself, which means that I have no relationship with that big emotion. And when that happens, the way I then show up in the world can look a little bit like an asshole, can look like a jerk, can look really unkind, can feel really harsh. And watching this play out, we then, if we're the witness to this, we then have our own experience with that. Like, do I stand up to that? Do I run from that? Can I be present with it? At what point does my presence need to stop and me say, nope, no more, and then I back off? So it doesn't matter what role it is that you are playing a role in this, whether it's watching it play out in the digital world, on the news, or whatever. Can I watch this news and hold this in unconditional love and radical acceptance, noticing my own energies and emotions that might be bubbling up? And can I hold them and still feel safe in my body? And then do I also know when to turn the TV off, right? How we handle this is setting us up to move into like the next iteration of what we're being asked to step into. A part of what I feel we're being asked to step into, first and foremost, is acceptance. And so many people have such a hard time with acceptance. There's so much resistance because the buts step in. I can accept it, but I really can't because I don't like it. And I don't like it comes from my own inability to be with and feel and process and alchemize and transmute and whatever and love the emotions that is being evoked within me based on what I am experiencing outside of me. Side note, if you're being hurt, abused, things like that, yes, you can accept that it's happening and you can also GTFO, right? So, like, grain of salt, like, take care of yourself, right? So, like, generally speaking, we can actually be living in a place of radical acceptance. To live in radical acceptance means that we don't need to change anyone. And this is where it gets tough because this is the pull on the heart of humanity. Because what it is that the beings that are unable to process their and be with their own emotions, they do one of two things. They either project it out so it feels very attacking, you know, they might shut down. Like, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to withdraw my love, which is still a type of projection, but from this withdrawal kind of a place. It's still a weapon. The love is weaponized, right? It's either I'm going to withdraw my love and be a jerk, or I'm going to pull the love expression away. I'm going to project out anger and assert my emotions at you so that you can make me feel better. Okay. Or people are distracting themselves from their inability to be with themselves. Oftentimes it looks like addictions. Oftentimes it looks like addictions to alcohol, distractions, addiction to distraction, over scrolling. It can look like an addiction to performance. Those that must work 80,000 hours a week and busy themselves. It's a way of running away from and not being with us in the emotional body. The mental body's like, no, 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 no. We're only going to be in the mental area. We are not feeling anything. Nope. And some people in that space can get in the body a lot. And I was one of those for sure. I've been all of them. Trust. But the one in the example I'm going to give you is I was so in my head because I was moving through such a painful time in my life that I was like, all I'm going to do is run. I'm going to run. I'm going to train for a marathon. I'm going to go run 16 miles. And because I was feeling the pain of my body running that much, my mind was like, I can't think of all the pain I'm in. So my emotions didn't really have space to just be with tenderly. And so we have this opportunity to witness any human's ability or inability, disability, in being with their own emotions in acceptance. If we accept them, then we don't feed into that the energy that they are so having a hard time with, whether they know it or not. Um, Oftentimes, if someone is in their big emotions, we'll say anger, right? Someone's in their anger, and then they start talking about it because they want to be a victim. I'm so angry. This person is so mean. I'm a victim. And what happens sometimes is they either get coddled or they get matched with that anger. And so then the other person's like, yeah, how dare that person X, Y, and Z to you, right? And so then there's an increase in the field of wild anger. And the anger without container is like a wildfire. You know, we want to contain fire. Fire is a beautiful element. We need it for alchemy. And there must be a container to keep everyone else and life itself safe, you know? And so there's a string of humans in this now that are being called to accept. And even if you are in the position of just now maybe realizing that you have emotions that maybe you have been running from, distracting from, projecting out, asserting out, aggressing out, whatever. The first step, like in AA, is admitting, just admitting it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm such a mean person because I have so much anger within me. Oh, And with that acknowledgement must be coupled with acceptance, which means the story doesn't go from, I see that, I acknowledge that I have these pain points unresolved, and I am a bad person. I am awful. I'm going to shame myself. I feel bad. I'm going to now regret everything in my life because I'm realizing the places I've made decisions were from this point of my pain body and all of that, right? So then we go into a whole other spiraling loop of pain as opposed to acknowledging the pain point and just accepting it, not taking it personally, not internalizing it any more than we already have, rather just being like, dang, I have been feeling more pain than I even admitted to myself. And just being with that, just being with that. And that is the doorway. That's the portal that starts to open up for us to step into to begin to feel the deeper pain, the deeper anger, the deeper seeds of why we're so angry. Maybe we felt abandoned. Maybe we were neglected. Maybe we were abused. Maybe it's genetic, maybe we got the short end of the stick and it's just in your DNA. Maybe it's in your ancestral lineage. Who knows? It could be anything. But acknowledging and accepting is I feel it to be the only accessible door. One, it's accessible to all of us. And two, it's the only accessible door because it's the only door that opens wide enough for us to fully walk through for true deep healing. Because even if we realize, okay, I have anger, frustration, and it's all righteous and there's a reason for it, whatever. Um, and, I've chosen to drink alcohol as my distraction. Well, so we could do a myriad of things, right? We could just stop drinking alcohol and then we could turn to sugar. We could turn to sex, right? We can turn to another distraction. We can turn into working 80 hours a week and start to get, bonus checks for that. And so then it elicits I am doing a good job, but there's no real healing. We could also go see a doctor and get a pill for it because there's a pill for everything. And we can get a pill to make us feel happier, calmer, more peaceful, all the things. And it is a beautiful way to get by. And it can be a very needed crutch. It can also become a crutch. You know what I mean? Like a way of not fully accepting it. I'm not saying that farm is good or bad. I'm saying that there's a time and place for everything, and everything in moderation is definitely key. So I feel that we're being faced with opportunities for acceptance within ourselves first and foremost. And it's a feeling, y'all. It's not just being like, yeah, I accept who I am. Look at the chips on my shoulder and the attitude I have. It is not that. Acceptance feels different. Acceptance feels like an exhale. Acceptance feels like your shoulders soften. Acceptance feels like your belly being soft. Acceptance feels like all the muscles in your face just relaxing. Acceptance feels like the awareness of peace, where we realize that we're feeling peace. And then there's that ooh, this feels good. There's an ease to it. It's easeful. Acceptance is a feeling, but we have to choose it to feel it. So I share this because, having my own recent experiences with people that are not in a position to even acknowledge they are just angry. They're mad at the world. And I'm witnessing it very close because they take it out at me. They aim it at me, pew, pew. And I'm so grateful that I accept them as they are. I don't hold them like they're always angry. Like, I don't want to hold that quantum web around them and keep them in that. And I'm very aware of where they are now. And every now I see them, they are, in fact, angry, or they're drunk, one of the two, in this one example that I'm giving. So if I can accept them, then when they come into my field and they're all grumbly and at me, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't take it personally. I accept that that's where they are. And then I don't help them out when they need help, when they need a hand. I excuse myself. I'm not going to be around that, you know. And I love them, do my own thing, you know. And because I'm not matching their anger, I'm not digging it. Why are you so mad at me? What's wrong with you? Who ruffled your feathers? And calling it out because they're not in a position to receive that. And I'm sensitive enough to that to know that. And there are some people that I've been around who are so grumbly and just so, "Eh." And I'm like, oh, is there something, you feel a little bit angry today? Is there something happening? And I can be sensitive to that when they're open to hearing that and yeah, hearing that reflection. Because it might just, they might be so like deep in their pattern of anger that they may not even see it. And I'm grateful that I've had my own deep relationship with anger, mostly distorted and unhealthy, so that I have a real deep resonance and ping when I can sense it in others. So for me to be in acceptance of it has been so much work because talk about a big energy that I had to accept in myself first. I had to acknowledge that I was angry and not attached to all the reasons I had to be angry about, but just acknowledging I have uncontained anger. And can I still accept me? Can I still love me? And accepting that allowed me to feel like I am still loved. I'm still lovable, you know? And then I started to feel grace. Grace began to hold me. And then as we do that with ourselves, we then extend that to others. So we can accept them and we can be a being of grace. And I see grace as presence. I see presence as God. So we become the living expression of unconditional love because we are in acceptance, holding someone in the energy and presence of grace while still having boundaries, still being able to turn away, say no, stand up for yourself, whatever it is that is needed in the now that you're in. But I share this because it's happening on repeat. I'm seeing it outside of myself. I'm seeing it in my family. My friends are reaching out, sharing with me stories about people that are coming into their field who are just being angry little cusses and blaming them and like, I'm going to get you kind of attitude. And, that is one way the world can continue being. It's been that way for many moons. It's not the world that I feed into anymore. It's not the world that I play in. It's not the world that I'm creating. So my invitation is to remember, is to remember that acceptance is accessible. Acceptance is a choice. And no matter what energies you are or are not capable of feeling and processing, that you can still be loved in your disability. Like you can and are still loved. And just let yourself feel that. Because if you feel that, then you don't feel as much of those heavy emotions that might be weighing you down. And then you may wait to pop that second, third, or 10th beer. Maybe you go for a walk instead of reaching for the TV remote. And maybe you sit with your breath and a tree before calling out to someone on some dating app to validate your beauty, you know? So I feel like we're being called to a time to really deepen our relationship with acceptance, understanding that there are humans on this earth plane who are fully willing and capable and able to feel all the emotions, to feel Shakti and to hold it with love and grace. And there are humans that are not. And nobody needs to change. Nobody has to change. Everything is fine as it is. The more we accept what is, the more we change what is. We become the is. We become more of the I am in form. And that's what I'm all about. It's what I'm here for. I'm here to guide myself and others into being the fullest expression of life. And there's a feeling to that. There are thoughts with that. There are ways of being with that. And it's unique to everyone. Like, it's not like this is how you have to be to live this way at all. It's so different for everyone. But I like to guide people to the point within themselves so that the way they do express is the unique expression of life, is the unique expression of love, is the unique expression of grace and acceptance. Because the way it looks for me is going to be different for someone else. And I want to see that because that is inspiring to me. When I see people expressing from a place of compassion, that inspires me. It elicits more compassion within me and allows me to live in compassion even more. Yeah. So if you have total jerks in your life that are just like grumble butts and victims and blamers and all the things and just like huffing and puffing and wanting to blow your own house down, can you in this now moment just breathe in so much gratitude for them in your life? Their presence in your life is giving you the opportunity to accept even more, to have more compassion, to have more presence, to have more connection to your physical body and not dissociate when they start being a turd. This is really great if you have family members like this, so that you can still be in the world in kindness. And so we thank all the beings in this world who have shown up in bodies and a life and have lived their ways that may be causing pain and suffering. And I offer them gratitude and a bow because that's not a fun place to live. Having been someone that created pain in others' lives, it doesn't feel good. That's one of the worst feelings that I have personally had was when I realized the pain I caused others. Like that's a deep pain. It's like a shame pain. Um yeah. So honoring them, bowing to them. We don't have to feed them. We don't have to play with them. We don't have to do anything with them. We can accept them just as we accept ourselves and grow this field of acceptance. So if that's the transmission that I wanted to share. I hope that it's of service. If this is something that you are interested in learning more about yourself and would like a guide, please do reach out. I love working with people one on one and families and couples and businesses and all the things. Brings me joy. And if what I am sharing elicits a spark of inspiration that you're like, you want to support some of this and be a part of a more consistent um, share of my own energy and transmission and teachings and all of the things, then you can join my Eternal Now community. So I'll put all those links and you can click them and explore, and you can always reach out for questions. And I just send everyone blessings on this journey into the heart. It's always a journey into the heart. And it is an eternal journey, y'all. We're never going to be done. So I'm like, get on the path and just enjoy the ride. Because the path of love, although it may be bumpy, it feels more safe than any other path I've ever, ever, ever been on. So I send you so many blessings and love and well wishes and just beams of the energy and emotion of grace and acceptance. So I'm sending you love and I see you next time. I had to find the stop button. Okay, bye.